Okay, let's make a mushroom drawing two ways. It'll be both a 2D, kind of like a coloring book line drawing, and then a sketch 3D drawing with shading. The supply list will be at the end of the post. Let's start with our 2D easy mushroom drawing, and I'm going to start with pencil, but you can use a marker if you'd like. I'm going to go over it in marker in a minute. I'm going to start with a mushroom where you can kind of see the underneath side of it. And we'll start with an oval. Does not have to be perfect. Mushroom in nature is not an exactly perfect looking object. Then we're going to draw the cap that goes over the top. Now your cap can be various shapes. I'm going to start just a little ways away from the edge of the mushroom, and that cap then is going to go around and underneath the edge of the mushroom, as you can kind of see it around this edge, bottom edge. This can have other shapes as well. You could draw a mushroom and the top could have kind of a mound on it like this. Now we're going to draw the stem that comes from underneath here, and the stem is going to have two sides that come down, and we're going to assume they're going down to the earth, and they kind of go out a little bit at the bottom. It's kind of like a trunk to a tree, and this top part then is going to have a line that makes a little bit of a hump that's similar to this one. Now, this is in front of the mushroom, so we're going to erase these two lines from the oval, and you can draw a line down here that's supposed to be the ground, and this one can have a stem. It's going to kind of come down this direction like that, and we'll erase that and draw the little top part of the stem. Okay, so now we've got a good idea of what our mushrooms look like, and underneath the bottom part of the mushroom, some have like a little over covering up here. I'm sure there's a name for it that I don't know, with a few lines, and then the lines underneath the mushroom radiate out from the stem, kind of like spokes on a bicycle wheel. So you just start from the stem and you go out to the outside edge. It gets a little bigger as it goes out like that. You can draw as many of these lines as you want, and the top part can have some little lines that come out from the edge, make it look a little bit like it's rounded up at the top, and that's all you need to do. You could draw some grasses down below to make it look like the earth, or some little rocks down here, and some of that grass can go in front of the stem. A second way to draw these mushrooms is where you can't see underneath the mushroom, and we'll draw a smile line, and then we'll draw that top, and we'll draw the stem coming down. Now, if you're wanting to do some coloring on these, it does work well to use a marker to go over the lines. I wanted to use a pencil so that you could see and erase your lines if you don't like what you drew. Once you've practiced a little bit, you could draw your mushroom with the marker and not draw it in pencil first. Now, I'll go over those other two mushrooms later, but once I've gone over them with my marker, I can go back and erase all my pencil lines. That's perfect for a color sheet. You can also make these cute by putting some eyes on them and a face if you want, or it could be on the stem if you'd rather. So then we have a cute mushroom drawing. Now we're going to take that same basic mushroom drawing and we're going to make it into a 3D shaded drawing. We're going to start with our center mushroom, where I'm going to draw a little sunshine. I was going to do this to remind us where the light source is coming from. So as it comes down on the mushroom, this side is going to have more light on it. This side's going to be darker, and the underneath side is going to be darker. Shading's done with the edge of our pencil, not the point of the pencil. So the top part will have a lot of light, and these little edges kind of wrap up and around. So we're going to draw some little lines that come up onto the mushroom as if it has some 3D shape, just a few of them. See how they curve? And I'm going to just kind of color in with the side of my pencil and make some kind of darker lines, but the shading part is going to get darker the further away from the light it is. And this part is not going to get very much light down here. And then I'm going to kind of darken the line around that top part of the mushroom. Then I use my fingertip, kind of gently smudge that pencil lead. There is a device to do this with, but I don't have one right now, and I love using my finger. Now, this light's going to come down, and underneath this part of the mushroom is going to be darker to make these lines a little bit darker as they come out from the center. So I'm not coloring it in solid. I'm using the side of my pencil to make it look like those lines that radiate out from the center are still there. They're just darker. I use my finger to just smudge it a little bit around. And if you have a picture of a mushroom and you have a certain kind of mushroom that you want to make, you're going to change these lines to look like the picture. So you can make this oval more narrow, you can make it wider, you can make more that you can't see the underneath side at all. You can change the top shape, you can change the direction of the stem. So there's lots of things you can do to make them look different. Okay, then I'm going to shade this little part right here. It's underneath the mushroom, but I'm not going to make it dark, just so it stands out. I'm going to use my pencil to go around the edge. You know what? I'm going to also just darken this outside line a little more to give it a little more distinction before I'm done with the top. Then I'm going to shade right in here. Kind of do the same thing with the outline of the stem. And I'm going to leave it a little bit lighter, but make a few lines with the side of my pencil, and I'm going to make it a little bit darker on the side that's away, and I'm just going to make a few lines that look like texture. Now, some mushrooms have little dots on them. I'm going to make a few little dots up here as a texture as well. Do a few dots on this side, but I'm not going to cover the whole surface with dots. And I think I'm happy with that mushroom. So I did the second mushroom similar to the first, but I did want you to notice that this light comes down and hits this mushroom so that there's more light on this side of the mushroom and darker side on this side. I also put in a few little smile lines, is what I call them, that kind of make this look like it has a shape that goes around. This last mushroom will be done just the same, except you won't be able to see the underneath side. So with the light coming this direction, it's going to be shaded the most, the side away from the light, and we simply do the same type of thing. I make my lines have a little bit of a circular look at the bottom. I call them smile lines, and they go the direction of the curve, and then do a little bit of that smudge with my finger to lessen the look of lines on there. And I can make this darker by going over it more often, and the stem will be similar. I'm going to shade it a little bit at the top because the light can't get it. A few smile lines on the stem, do a little smudging, darkening the outside line just to give it a little more clarity, get a little more crisp. I'm going to draw a few of those little circles, give it more texture, very lightly drawn on there. Even lighten this up a little bit again if you like it to be a little bit whiter. And then I'm going to draw some grass by just doing a gentle little back and forth line, little triangle looking lines along the bottom of here. Let's draw a little rock, which will soften the look of the ground where the mushroom is growing. Now I could draw more mushrooms with them in the background where they're overlapping. So when you draw another mushroom behind, it will only show where it's behind that other mushroom. So I could make several more of them overlapping if I'd like. We did a great job on these 2 easy mushroom drawings. For more drawing tutorials and crafts, come on over to welcometonana's.com and join the fun.